So I will let, of course, so Vanessa, Shailee, Danielle, Yorke, Jodee to turn on the camera. Glad to see you all here for this really exciting conversation about the unprecedented growth of NFTs, of course. So Jodee, I will let you, as you are moderating the session, I will let you take the lead here. And super happy to see all these people connecting here.
Thank you very much. So my name is Jodee Rich. I've been dreaming about NFTs now for about 3 years. I speak like an Australian, but I'm really a New Yorker. I was born in New York in 1960, and in 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, I was dragged off to Australia. We're going to be talking about what is an NFT, how they disrupt industries. My day job is that I run a company called NFT that has a platform for OEM NFT hubs and marketplaces. And my night job is I also founded with our friends from OpenSea and Cameron Vale NFT.NYC, which is an in-person event that we're running in October this year. So Vanessa, over to you. Would you like to do a quick intro? We'll do a quick intro of each panelist, and then we're going to get into what is an NFT.
Thank you, Jodee. My name is Vanessa Grellet. I'm the head of portfolio growth at CoinFund. Prior to joining CoinFund, I was an executive director at ConSensys and deeply involved in the EEA community. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Yorke, do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Yorke Rhodes, and I co-founded blockchain at Microsoft. I'm a board member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and very excited to be here.
And Daniel?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Norkin, a co-founder of Envision Blockchain. We're a blockchain systems integrator, also very heavily involved in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and happy to be here. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Shailee?
Hi, everyone. Shailee Adinolfi. I'm a director of strategic sales at ConSensys. I am taking the place of Dan Heyman, who is a co-founder of Palm.io. He wasn't able to make it, but I hope that I can do justice to him.
Awesome. So let's start with what's an NFT. It's Vanessa, do you want to have a go at what's an NFT?
Sure. I thought Yorke would take that on, but I think he should do it, and I'd be happy to compliment.
Sure.
Okay. Yorke.
Yeah. So from a business perspective, an NFT obviously is a token format if you're familiar with blockchain. But from a business perspective, you want to think about tokens and NFTs simply as a data object which represents something and has methods and functions associated with it. It sits on top of blockchain, so you get all of the benefits of an immutable data structure to go with that. We'll talk more about it. Do you want to add something, Vanessa?
No, I think that's a really great way of presenting it. And from a business perspective, think of it also as one way the software works to achieve your business goals, basically.
Shailee, do you want to talk about use cases?
Yeah. So from what I am reading about and hearing from customers is that they're interested in, the proof of ownership aspect as well as fractional ownership potential. And we're seeing also that NFTs are being used for things like gaming. Within gaming, they can be used as collateral for lending as well nowadays. So you have a wide variety of use cases. I try and explain it to my parents that this is like the new version of eBay that's coming about. So yeah, I mean, those are some of the use cases.
That's definitely what Mark Cuban thinks. So that's a good reference.
And Daniel, do you want to talk about the taxonomy framework that you've been working on for NFTs?
Yeah, sure. It's a good point that you brought that up. So the mainstream adoption of NFTs that we've all seen is definitely with digital art. But the purpose of, a taxonomy framework is to really showcase how businesses and, different organizations can start to leverage NFTs the non-fungible token. So essentially, you know, we can see different types of uses such as syndicate loans and documents, diplomas, natural gemstones, you know, and even to the sustainability level of ecological projects is what we've seen a lot of talk about recently.
Yorke, you've spoken to me about using NFTs to actually identify physical world goods. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I wanted to actually cover very quickly there's three different business lines at Microsoft that are actually using NFTs, both in private construct as well as a public construct. So first, if you go and search for Azure Heroes, there's actually a rewards token, essentially an NFT, that is available publicly. It's actually registered on public Ethereum, and that was actually built in collaboration with Engine that has an SDK for that. In the physical world context, I currently sit in the Azure Cloud hardware supply chain. Just for context, Azure Cloud is a $60 billion revenue line for Microsoft. And we've bet the business on blockchain. I've been working on this project for about 3 years. So we are today using NFTs in that business to represent high value commodities inventory, as well as business objects like purchase orders, invoices, statements of work, and such. In another part of our business, which is the Xbox team, they're actually representing royalties contracts using NFTs. So that's an abstract example. And there's many more examples like that. But those are just three places where Microsoft very specifically in three different business lines is actually using NFTs.
You're doing something interesting with Live Nation too, aren't you?
Not currently, although Live Nation has done some work with Kings of Leon and a small startup called Yellow Heart. And they've actually done a couple of interesting things. One, they've issued golden tickets. This is basically, you know, your typical golden ticket concert venue, as well as merchandise. And they have an album as well that's represented as an NFT.
Okay, cool. Daniel, did you want to add anything about natural gemstones? I know you've been doing some interesting work there.
Yeah, I mean, natural gemstones are something that we had submitted to the framework of what you were talking about earlier. That's a really good example of being able to really tie something physical and make it digital, you know, as opposed to something that's a completely all digital piece, maybe like a piece of, you know, artwork that was created, you know, like in Adobe or something like that.
Yeah,
and Vanessa,
yeah.
You wanted to talk about fashion too, didn't you?
Yeah, to add to what Danielle and Yorke were saying is that, you know, you clearly have distinct digital only NFTs, which are empowering the creative industry. So ranging from digital art to any sort of IP that can be digitally represented. So think about books, you know, concerts, music, anything where you can have a royalty and can track and that is unique. I think it's a really exciting space. And we see that currently it has gained mainstream adoption, but a lot of enterprises are looking at NFTs in terms of the supply chain, as Yorke mentioned. We see it also in the fashion industry where unique goods can bridge the world between digital and physical. And it's not just about supply chain tracking, you know, a gemstone or a specific piece of jewelry. It's also interacting between the digital world and the physical world. For example, wearing a digital representation of a piece on your Zoom call or things like that, and interacting in the gaming world and in the metaverse world. So I think we're seeing the physical and digital come together as an experience for clients and consumers. And that's a really exciting way forward.
What I like to say to people is it's the first time that we can actually properly put a ownership tag on the assets that we create, whether we're a brand or influencer or you know just a person at home. If I share a piece of content now, I can actually add a tag that says this content is mine, and I think that's sort of the key thing here. What do we think are going to be the brands that they're going to lead the way? I wrote a blog post about this a couple of years ago. Nike lodged a patent to tokenize shoes. I'd be super interested to hear what the panel thinks is going to be the brand that sort of leads the way. I know Microsoft is, but who else?
So we've seen in the fashion world a consortia between LVMH, Prada, Richemont, and Cartier, which was just recently announced, with ConSensys and Microsoft work closely with. And all these large groups have a lot of brands within their groups, which I think will be experimenting and seeing new opportunities there. So I think, sky's the limit in terms of the brands who can leverage this technology, whether it's on the public mainnet or private implementation.
Yeah, I saw that Gucci and Breitling were doing something as well. Daniel, I think you wanted to talk about NFTs in business.
Yeah, we've seen definitely, since we've been talking about NFTs for a couple of years now, and especially, I remember the NFT.NYC conference last year was a big hit as well. But specifically since this, mainstream, I want to say adoption of NFTs has been hitting, and we've been seeing really an uptick in demand in the workshopping from businesses of all sorts wanting to learn about what are the different type of use cases that they can leverage NFTs. That's some of the thought processes that we have here at the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and why we're deciding to launch the tokenization interest group. So, the collection of the member interest around tokenizations and helping to develop charters for all the working groups, I think is very relevant to the times right now.
Yeah, what I say to businesses is it's a great time to experiment. They need to find a platform to experiment, and I know your taxonomy is a great way for them to experiment. Shailee, you know a little bit about payment providers and what they're doing with NFTs, don't you?
Yeah, from what I've discussed, I think all of them are thinking about their own experiments in the NFT space. They're also trying to be the on-off ramps for the different NFT gateways and marketplaces and things like that. They want a more user-friendly experience so that this can be adopted in the mainstream. We see the news articles about what's happening, but really, if you have to, remember your seed phrase, that's going to deter people right off the bat, right? So I think the payment service providers are really trying to up the game in terms of user experience and that marketplace.
I'd like to move on now to talk about what are some of the issues with NFTs. What I've come across is that a lot of people don't realize that very often the NFT doesn't actually store the asset. And in fact, there's this concept of on-chain and off-chain storage. So when you're actually minting your NFT, it's very important that you have a secure cloud for the off-chain storage. Daniel, can you tell us a little bit about some of the issues that you've seen with these NFT experiments you're involved in?
Yeah, one of them is definitely around the metadata standards that represent the NFT. I think that's some work that I can't say is definitely complete yet, but it's something that a whole lot of brilliant minds are definitely putting their attention to right now. Legal issues, on another hand, is also something else that we're seeing that's an issue with NFTs. It's like anyone can go ahead and take a screenshot of something and put it up there. So brands need to be able to protect themselves and protect the creators for sure.
It's interesting. Vanessa, I think vendor lock-in is something that you think about?
Yeah, so there's a lot of platforms right now in which you can create NFTs, trade NFTs, but they're not all interoperable. So it's not a given that if you buy an NFT on one platform, you'll be able to resell it on another platform, even though it's the same, ERC-20, 721 type of token. So I think it's going to be interesting in the future to see how there's going to be interoperability. As Daniel alluded to, also the contract and the IP rights related to the ownership may differ from platform to platform, or the rights that the artist gives might be different. So having clarity on that might be helpful for the development of the space.
Yeah. What we're seeing is that those vendors who actually have a metadata API are the best ones for people to get together with, because then you don't end up with that lock-in. If you take the token somewhere else, you can make a metadata API call on the vendor that you minted the token with. Yorke, you wanted to talk about retail usage too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of issues here. One is thinking through what does it mean to someone who's buying a LeBron James media moment, right? What platform is that on? What's the underlying guarantees of that platform and promises of that platform? What's the security of that platform? What prevents that platform from pulling the rug, right? To use a crypto term, out from underneath, the creators and the purchasers, right? And so this is a retail risk, right? The same retail risk that exists in the ICO market in 2017, where people were very interested in being involved, and yet there's not a lot of transparency necessarily to the underlying platform. So that's clearly an issue. As Vanessa mentioned, there is essentially the platforms today are creating guarantees through the sale on their platform or the marketplaces. And so if you look at the NBA Top Shots example, the protection for the brand is actually through a licensing relationship, right? And that licensing relationship gives the NBA distance from what happens, right? So that's how brands are getting the sort of very conservative protection today. That's the same type of thing that we're seeing with the brands that I'm advising internally. And then the biggest concern, sort of back to what's the underlying footprint of this thing, is a lot of people are waking up to our climate crisis, and therefore sustainability issues are front and center for almost every large brand. Just look at them, right? I mean, there are many goals to be carbon net zero by 2030, et cetera, right? Including a current initiative by the United States, right, which is going to start to mandate that, right? And so carbon footprint's an issue.
I think we're running very short of time. I think we've got just a couple more things to cover.
Absolutely.
The last thing I'd like to spend the last 3 minutes just talking about what we see is going to happen over the next few years and what industries are going to be disrupted. My view is that one of the most threatened industries is actually going to be social networks, because for the first time, we're going to be able to add ownership data to the content that we're currently throwing into networks. And that ownership tag is going to allow us to monetize content much better than we have in the past. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Yorke, do you want to talk a little bit about disruption? And then I'm going to ask Vanessa and Daniel as well.
Yeah, I mean, what NFT really represents is the retail, like the Mark Cubans of the world, right? Realization of value up the stack from what's been going on in the blockchain world. And so what we're starting to see is just across all different types of assets, right? That things will change. So it includes licensing models, royalty models, creative, long-term creative payments and value propositions. So I could go on, but I know we have time constraints here.
Yeah, 1 minute to go. So Daniel and Vanessa, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think you'll see a huge disruption in the creator industry, rebalancing, forces, and seeing less and less intermediaries and more of these platforms that are more self-serving, and that will be able to attract an audience in a way that they were not able to do so before. And so we'll see a big disruption in those industries.
Yeah, and I guess
I really like the way artists can go direct, and the provenance of their art is carried with the NFT, so there's not nearly as much pressure for them to go to a gallery to actually authenticate what they do. I think we're now finished. This has been a great panel. So thank you very much, everyone. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to see you at NFT.NYC.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Bye.